Hi, past, present, and future homeowners. It's your homegirl, Justina. Welcome back to another episode of the Property Buyer's Guide. So this week, we're joined by Mr. Francois Pretorius, who is an architect in training at Loubser Kotze Architects Incorporated. Welcome, Francois.
Thank you, Justina, for having me on your show and to share our knowledge with the audience.
Okay, so let's dive into the first question. What are the key financial considerations that one should look into if you're looking at building a brand new construction home or just doing renovations for that matter, with your house?
Yeah, so working out your budget when buying a new property or a existing one that you might like to renovate. It can be quite tricky if you don't know all the elements that is part of the whole budget. So we normally like to categorize our budget into three main categories. And the first one would be to have a look at costs around your ARF or your new property. Because that it's on its own as a defined expense. And then secondly, it would be your construction cost.
Okay.
And within your construction cost, normally you have a contingency amount. And a contingency amount is a sum of money that you just keep to one side for unforeseen changes during your project or during your buy.
Okay.
There's always changes during a construction phase. And it would be good to keep that extra amount.
Just in case.
Yes.
Okay.
And then thirdly, there's a separate cost for all your professions involved, such as the architects, the quantity surveyors, and engineers. And then if you do proceed with a project and you're not comfortable with handling these budgets and finances, it's a good thing to appoint a quantity surveyor. Because they normally work with the budget, they work out all the costs, and they can foresee any cost overruns with your project.
Okay. So they would ideally be able to consolidate all these three different costs that you just mentioned now. Okay.
And they would also work out what is additional that you can spend, what is the leeway with your budget and so on. Yes.
So we spoke about costs, and I think another popular occurrence which most people prefer is they ideally want to buy or build rather their own new construction home. You don't want something that's already standing, that's been there for a while. They want to have something that's brand new, that's personal to them. So you go out and you look for a plot. You either get a plot allocated to you by the city of Windhoek, or you buy a plot from somebody. So taking these costs into consideration, and just also, I guess, the technicalities of building, how important is it to pick a specific type of plot, or what items should one look at when picking a plot to ensure that, again, it doesn't run these costs that we made reference to earlier very high?
So choosing your plot is quite important because it sort of acts as the foundation of how you proceed forward or what your design is going to look like. When buying an existing structure or development, that is, I think, more of a personal choice and what you're looking at. But when we look at vacant plots, I think the first thing you can start looking at is there amenities around the plot? And I say that because in general, a plot with a few amenities around it, like shopping malls, schools, and stuff like that, adds a percentage of value to your property.
Yes.
And that is good for if you want to, in the future, sell your property or either rent it out.
Okay. So that speaks to the very famous location saying in real estate.
Yes, but I mean, that counts for any property in Windhoek. It can be anywhere as long as you have those amenities close by. But it's also a personal choice. A lot of people like to be more out of the town and away from them. So it is also a personal choice. And then secondly, what one can look at is the soil conditions and the slopes of the property. A more sloped property does lean to a more interesting design and gives more opportunities,
Yes.
but they do have more cost implications.
Right.
Because then you start excavating, working on more floors as compared to a more general flat ARF, where
Yes.
you can have a more conventional type of design. And then what one also looks at is the shape of the ARF.
Yeah.
And in saying that, we have a lot of ARFs in Vintic that works with a panhandle. And a panhandle is generally a hidden cost in your design.
Okay.
Because that you have to take into consideration that you have to build your entire panhandle piece in terms of paving and your boundary walls.
Yes, yes.
And that entire piece doesn't really aid to your ARF.
Yes.
But your cost goes into it.
Yeah.
Of your ARF. So the biggest ARF you have might link to a bigger design.
Yeah.
Which is goes directly to a bigger budget.
Yeah.
But even if you decide to have a smaller design on a big ARF, you do have cost implications around your house or your design.
Like paving the entire yard,
Paving,
for example.
Either
landscaping, etc.
Yes, and then connections to municipal services. They are also generally a bit further than a more compact site.
Okay, yes, of course, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So those are ideally some of the items or some of the things that you can look at when you're picking or when you're looking for a plot.
Yeah.
Okay. So ideally, speaking of costs and then also speaking of the plot, I think a big thing as well when it comes to designing your new home is just functionality. How functional is this floor plan? And also looking at design. Can you maybe just touch on those sort of two elements in terms of functionality and design and how you need to merge the two to ensure that you have, the best floor plan?
Yeah. So working on a design is a very personal thing, because obviously you would like it to have adapted to your daily activities, your flow in your daily activity goes and so on. But generally looking at a functional design, nowadays we work a lot with open plan spaces.
Yeah.
Such as your kitchen, your living area, and your dining area. A very open plan thing.
Yeah.
And what that does is it creates a lot of flexibility in your space. I mean, everyone comes at that point where they think, I should have moved my living room more to the left or to the right. And if you have confined spaces, it's very restrictive.
Yes.
And then together with the open plan, a good thing is multifunctional rooms. So you have a 2-bedroom room, a 2-bedroom house. Adding another room that can act as a office or maybe a hobby room. That can in the future also become a 3rd bedroom.
Yes.
So that adds another level of flexibility to your design, making it more functional. And then with this, you can also design your property. Should you plan in the future to add to your property, you can also design in such a way that it's easy to extend or add to.
Yeah.
And then what one can also look at is color palettes with your design. It's a simple thing to think about.
Yeah.
Just having color.
Yes.
But color palettes can take your design very far. Either break them or make them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the way of using those is, if you look at interior, light colors, they normally enlarge a room as compared to darker colors. But you can combine the two as well by defining certain spaces.
Yeah.
Like a backdrop for your TV or a backdrop for your kitchen.
Yes.
Can be a darker color than the rest, and that defines the space.
Yeah.
And the same goes to the outside as well. maybe you have a sort of a extension on your main entrance, and you make that a different color. It really defines where the entrance is, or key elements on your facades.
Yeah.
And so together with color, you can also use textures, different types of plaster textures.
Right.
And that also just deepens the definition of the certain spaces. Yeah.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is, if and when one is ready to sort of, build their house or have their house constructed by a professional, they shouldn't only consider what their current situation is. It's always best or smart to also consider what you would want to grow into. What your needs are going to be possibly 5 or 10 years from now. Because getting in and out of a property is not the easiest thing, but if you could get a property that's sort of flexible and you can make these necessary changes in the near or the far future, it makes a certain investment in a property that much more sense, for example.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's a difference between buying a property to rent out in the future and buying a property where you want to stay.
Yes.
But in both cases, even renting out a property or developing some property to rent out, you can still design it in such a way to extend it or make it flexible as if you would stay there as well. Also just creates that bit of more value to the property.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then also just considering different family dynamics. They come in all shapes and sizes these days. So you want to be able to have, the setup of your family sort of suit the particular property that you're investing in or that you're having built from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, a popular saying in architecture is form follows function.
Yeah.
So if you can define your function of the property,
yes,
you can move forward and design towards that.
Okay. And I think that's actually a very smart one. Form follows function, because I think most people take form first and then function later. What does this house actually look like?
Yes.
And then they don't realize, what is the floor plan and how am I going to use this house? So it's always important to weigh both form and function quite equally.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This has been a very informative session. We've learned so much. I think, like I said, the biggest takeaway from today's episode is the form and the function, to have a house not only look good, but also sort of, function for the family, will be built in a way where it's functional for the individual that's living in there.
Yes, and then definitely moving forward to make sure you have all those hidden costs covered. Make sure you have your budget in order.
Yes.
Because we do get a lot where you start with a project and halfway there's these hidden costs that sort of puts it on hold. So that's a important part.
So that's where the quantity surveyor comes in.
Yes.
So you don't want your dream build to turn into your nightmare.
Yes.
Nightmare. Yes. So you want to plan accordingly.
Yes.
Okay, Francois. Thank you again. We've learned so much in today's episode. And for our viewers at home, thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to catch us in the next episode of the Property Buyer's Guide. See you next time.